this idea of a statewide strategy that's going to really make our state shine. And this is how it's going to happen, by bringing people together. I also want to give a big shout out to the First Lady, Sue McKee. She's been a champion of a cleaner Rhode Island from day one, and we would not be here without her.
I want to emphasize the importance of keeping Rhode Island litter-free, especially for our kids. I think the most important thing that we can do is teach our children to respect and care for the environment by setting a positive example.
In last year's budget, we committed and the General Assembly approved $100,000 to our litter-free initiative, and we've really made every last dollar count. It's not a big amount of money, but as you can see, when you get a project that builds community spirit regardless of age or regardless of party, this is something that Rhode Island can rally behind. Today, spread the word. Go to the website and take the pledge.
Can you believe there are friggin' lights on in this place? Unreal.
Also new at noon, demolition work continues at this noon time on the former Lighthouse Inn in Galilee, right across from the Block Island Ferry Terminal down there. Kristen Burnell has been in Narragansett all morning long and joins us now with the very latest.
Crews arrived just before 8 o'clock this morning, and that work now continues. We have just learned from the DEM that the official demolition will most likely take place either Tuesday or Wednesday. Take a look at this video 12 News captured showing the work so far today where crews are working on the roof. We're told by the DEM that last Friday they found styrofoam insulation in the roof rafters. They need to be carefully removed, all of that before demolition can officially begin, therefore delaying the initial timeline of the building getting knocked down. The Lighthouse Inn fell into disrepair in 2015, and the town of Narragansett issued a demolition order in February of last year. The DEM will now be responsible for removing debris and site restoration. A spokesperson says once demolition is complete, the area will be used for parking with picnic tables that can be used by visitors and those taking the ferry located across the road. Meanwhile, not all agree with what the future holds for this property.
It's unfortunate because it's just going to end up as surface parking in the back, and that's grossly underutilized for the value of this land.
The DEM says that the site enhancements planned for this property will benefit the community as well as the fishing industry. We'll keep you updated on the official timeline of that demolition as the day and the week goes on. Reporting in Narragansett, Kristen Burnell, 12 News.
Here we are in Galilee, Saturday, April 27th, 2024. This is a site where the former Lighthouse Inn was located. As we can all see, the RIDEM has finally demolished the entire Lighthouse Inn. When I put a request in to find out how much the cost for the demolition was, I was sent an invoice that had the name of Dan Costa of the RIDEM. Dan Costa is a field rep of the local Galilee RIDEM office, and the cost was a little over $1.3 million. I then asked the RIDEM who paid for the demolition. I want to know specifically who paid for this demolition, and also what percentage did the state pay or Procaccianti Paolino pay. We were told that previously the RIDEM was paying for most of the demolition, and Procaccianti might be paying for a portion of it or a small portion of it, but it was never disclosed exactly how much the cost for this demolition cost the state of Rhode Island. Let us not forget, this building was owned by James Procaccianti and Joseph Paolino, indisputably. In the litigation proceedings, which I read, it said, they do not own the building, Tarantino noted. It was held in fee simple. Fee simple, well, sure, they didn't own it fee simple. Fee simple means that they owned the land and the property. They did not own the land and the property, but they owned the building. And because they did own the building, they were responsible to maintain that building and upkeep that building, which they failed to do. That was in the lease agreement. So the RIDM has failed us because the RIDM allowed them to intentionally create a health, safety, environmental hazard on their leased land, on the RIDM leased land, creating tons of rubble, as is evident by the demolition, which you all saw. It can be seen, the wreckage that was at the hands of Procaccianti and Paolino on RIDM leased land. So in addition to the cost of over $1.3 million, in addition to the tons of debris that now have to go into our landfills and the waste that was created to our environment, the RIDM then goes and awards Procaccianti and Paolino with the 20-year street-level parking lot on this 5-acre parcel. Instead of charging Procaccianti and Paolino for reckless endangerment, bringing them to court, summing them, and putting them on trial. I mean, we have a president, former president, Donald Trump, who's put on trial right now with all of his income. Instead of bringing Procaccianti and Paolino into court for their gross malfeasance, the RIDM has awarded them a 20-year street-level parking lot. I attended the State Properties Committee meeting, and they oversee state agencies to make sure that the state agencies are doing their fiduciary duties and giving out leases. And I pleaded with them, saying you cannot award a 20-year street-level parking lot to a company who created great harm to the town of Narragansett and all of Rhode Island. These town of Narragansett put forth a mixed-use development, a viable mixed-use development, which was supported by the University of Rhode Island Landscape Architectural Department. It was eco-friendly. It was talking about, it discussed a consolidated parking garage to take a small footprint of this entire land. The RIDM rejected it. The whole RFP process, request for proposal process, was a dog and pony show. You cannot make this up. And our governor, Governor McKee, gives glowing accolades to the RIDM director, Terrence Gray. When I saw Director Gray at the State Properties Committee, he goes, well, I got to give you credit. You definitely have enthusiasm for Galilee. Well, I do have enthusiasm. Then how come you're not doing what's right? Why are you awarding a 20-year street-level parking lot to Procaccianti and Paolino, which is going to be taking millions of dollars of revenue away from the state and the town and giving it to corporate billionaires who will be putting up banners to support the Champlain's Marina located in Block Island. The RIDM many times does not have what's in the best interest of the city or town or even the state. In Arcadia National Park on Browning Pond, the RIDM wanted to build this huge structure abutting Browning Pond. That structure would have violated the town's zoning ordinance and comprehensive plan. So the town of Exeter fought the RIDM and they won their case. They lost in Superior Court, but they won in the Supreme Court. So our town leaders in Narragansett have to fight this. Because by Procaccianti and Paolino getting a 20-year street-level parking lot on the 5-acre parcel, they are violating the town's ordinance and our comprehensive plan. However, if our town does nothing, we lose. If our elected and appointed leaders do nothing, we lose. Our town council fights for different issues that they believe is right. They were fighting for more signage along Ocean Road in the area streets. They are fighting to limit, to implement an ordinance so there's no more than 3 people who can rent. No more than 3 unrelated individuals can rent during the school year. They are putting in ordinances for short-term rentals. So why are they not fighting for Galilee? Why are they sitting back and allowing the RIDM to violate our town's zoning and our comprehensive plan? Why are we allowing a multi-billionaire who created a health, safety, environmental hazard, James Procaccianti and Joseph Paolino, to get away with this? We should be filing a court injunction. Our legal team, our town, should file a court injunction to put a stop to this 20-year street-level parking lot. When I originally went to the original Zoom meetings, Michael Bacola says basically nothing could be built on this area except basically a street-level parking lot because the area is noisy and smelly. Mr. Bacola, the only thing that stinks is your business practice and what you have done to our beautiful village of Galilee. That's what stinks. Yes, we know Procaccianti and Joe Paolino are filthy rich. And sadly, they got rich sometimes by playing dirty. And yes, they definitely played dirty by intentionally abandoning the Lighthouse Inn, Dutch Inn, which they were supposed to maintain. In fact, even Mr. Landry, Attorney Landry of the RIDM said clearly they were supposed to maintain this property, and they failed to do so. So if the RIDM's own attorney in the litigation proceedings said they breached the lease and they violated it, and our town building inspector and the state building inspector condemned the building, saying it was a health, safety, environmental hazard, then why is the RIDM awarding this company with the 20-year street-level parking lot? In the Rhode Island Attorney General office, their representative, Greg Schultz, said, well, this isn't the best ideal situation for anybody, but if we don't give them their lease, it's going to get tied up in litigation. So Greg Schultz, or the RIAG representative, that's who he is, Rhode Island Attorney General representative, is basically saying, if you're filthy rich and you got money, you can trash your town, you can trash the village, you can create a health, safety, environmental hazard, but if you got enough money and you're going to try to litigate against us, regardless of how frivolous the lawsuit might be, because believe me, it would be frivolous, we got plenty of ammunition to fight back, we're going to succumb. We're just going to bow down to this multi-billionaire and give them a 20-year street-level parking lot. You cannot make this up. And why the State Properties Committee condoned this? They're supposed to be the overseer, the watchdogs against agencies that are failing in their fiduciary duties. How were they? What was going on in their minds? And on Earth Day, as we all saw, you might not have seen, but hopefully you will have seen, because this video will be attached to the video I will be creating. In the beginning of this video, you all saw the governor and his first lady praising Earth Day. And now we all have to take our part in helping beautify Rhode Island. Well, you could see in the video clips that were posted in this video, the amount of rubble and scrap that Procaccianti and Paolino created. How could that be good for our environment? Governor McKee, how come you allowed this to happen? I reached out to you, and countless other people reached out to you, Governor McKee, to step in and to tell the RIDEM to stop playing ball with, stop playing dirty with Procaccianti and Paolino. But you failed us. You failed us. You do photo shoots. You do photo ops with the RIDM director, thinking everything is beautiful in our state. But we know differently, Governor. These videos that I have posted in the beginning of this section, which everyone has seen, shows the trash, the tons of trash that were created by Procaccianti and Paolino. May we all pray for our elected leaders, our appointed leaders, that they do the right thing. We also have another battle. The state is trying to put up wind farms off of our ocean, our coast. A total disregard to the marine life, our fishermen. Orsted is another multi-billion-dollar company. Today I was reading in the Journal, the Superman building, the state wants to give multi-millions to that developer. We're giving multi-millions to the soccer stadium developer. You just can't make this up. So we have to all pray for our elected leaders, they have an epiphany. We have to pray that the governor might step in and tell the RIDM they have to terminate that lease with Procaccianti and Paolino. I was interviewed by a news agency. It's on State of the State Albert Alba. If you Google that on YouTube, State of the State Albert Alba. And they interviewed me exclusively on what happened to Galilee. So if you've not checked out that YouTube news section, please watch it. It's on State of the State Albert Alba, and you will see my interview. But I called it the way it was. I said, I got the documentation. I got the litigation. I got the testimony. I got them. I have the lies recorded. The truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. And yeah, our state leaders seem to be quiet about this. Why? If this was you or I who did this to our property, we would be summoned to court, fined, prosecuted, and imprisoned. If we leased out a property on one of James Procaccianti or Joe Paolino's pieces of land, and we trashed it like they did here by intentionally abandoning it, by not maintaining it, we would be arrested, fined, and imprisoned by James Procaccianti and Paolino. They would go after us. And yet they do it to the state of Rhode Island, and they're awarded with the 20-year street-level parking lot. Next Saturday, May 4th, we're going to be having a gathering concerned Narragansett taxpayers. It'll be at 1 p.m. next Saturday, May 4th. That happens to be Rhode Island Independent Day, actually. It was coincidental we're having it on that day. But it's when Rhode Island spoke about its opposition to being taxed with our representation. against King George III. But I hope we have a good gathering. It will be at the Narragansett Community Center, and it'll be at 1 p.m. next Saturday, May 4th. I hope you can all join us. And if you want to be a member of that group, please just message me on Facebook, or you can email me at aalbertphd@gmail.com, and just leave your email and your phone number, and I will get back to you on the agenda, and I hope that you can attend. And that's next Saturday, May 4th at 1 p.m. at the Narragansett Community Center. Many people in Narragansett have a lot of concerns. We live in a beautiful, beautiful seaside community, a little bit of heaven on earth. But we have to, work together collectively. Hopefully we'll work together with our elected leaders, our state leaders. I'll gladly sit down with our governor. I really wish that we could have a viable mixed-use development for this entire 5-acre parcel. To award Procaccianti and Paolino with a 20-year street-level parking lot lease is just has you shaking your head in disbelief. 20 years. And why is the state or the town not operating that parking lot? It doesn't take rocket scientists to operate a parking lot. And that money could be going to the state or the town. And it'll only be for a couple of years. So even if the state or town was operating the street-level parking lot, it should not be for 20 years. It should only be for a couple of years until a parking garage could be built on this land, so we could have a viable mixed-use development, a maritime museum, biome center, educational center for URI, research. Multi-purpose room, observation center, and the parking garage would have also served as a safe haven, as the University of Rhode Island stated, in case this area ever gets flooded over. Cars could park their car there to be a safe haven. As like an emergency shelter. In any event, I want to thank you all for watching. God bless you all. God bless the United States of America. May we pray for peace in the Middle East. May we work collectively in the state of Rhode Island with our elected leaders, from the governor on down to our town council, to do what's right for Galilee. May our governor have an epiphany and tell the RIDM they cannot condone this lease with James Procaccianti and Joseph Paolino, who have $10 billion in assets, $10 billion with the capital B. And yet, they want more and more and more. I believe at one time Mr. Paolino was the ambassador for Malta. He received all these kinds of praises and awards for being a humanitarian and a wonderful individual. So, Mr. Joseph Paolino, if that is the case, then please leave Galilee. Please dissolve that lease deal between you, Mr. James Procaccianti, and the RIDM. Please leave Galilee for the state and the town so we can create a viable mixed-use development, a maritime playground for children and families to be here, a beautiful observation deck where we can have beautiful receptions for family members in this area. possibly some type of community housing for those who are doing research in the area. Fishermen, maybe a Galilee, multi-purpose convenience store. They used to have the Galilee grocery over here, which people loved, where the fishermen can go there to grab sandwiches, socialize. We had so many wonderful ideas for this area, and yet they were all ignored by the RIDEM. I also have another video posted on my YouTube channel, which is Albert Alba, showing you the major faults of the RIDEM director and what he has allowed happen in our beautiful state. Now he has literally turned a blind eye to the gross misdeeds of others. So if you have not seen that video, please check that video out as well. Because we are not alone. We are not alone who have been harmed by the RIDM and its reckless actions to our town and its lack of empathy to those living in the area businesses. Director Gray seems to have a total disregard, and it appears if the governor does nothing, he too has a total disregard at the harm his appointed leader is causing our state of Rhode Island. I want to thank you all for watching. God bless you, and God bless your families.